Hi, Houseway. I certainly remember you. How are you? Sorry for all the confusion today. I just was figuring out that you have to have your screen, it can't be lengthwise. It had a little symbol on there with no explanation that was kind of like sideways. That meant I had to turn the tablet this way, and when I turned it this way, it came on. So it would have been helpful if a little YouTube gnome had told me, hey, turn your thing sideways, but so so yeah, this first one's going to be going to kind of go down in history as kind of a just an experiment that sort of failed, but I guess it didn't fail because now I figured out that next time we'll start with it straight up. And so anyway, I hope you're doing well. I hope your little YouTube channel is coming well. And I'm reading the text off of another screen over here. So that's where the texts are. So this is the first time on the YouTube Live. I did do it before and filmed some stuff, but obviously I forgot, or I did it that way right, and this time I did it wrong. So I think this one's probably not going to, I'm probably delete this unless we get everything rolling greatly here. Okay, now there's a text on the screen, so that's useful. So yeah, this is my first experiment with YouTube Live, and I learned that if you're using a Apple tablet, you have to be vertical, or the thing loses its mind and it won't do it. So yes, I'm here in Michigan, and it's a sunny day, but the days are cooling off pretty quick right now, and I have to preach an evangelistic meeting tonight at the church, so I'll be spending most of the afternoon getting tuned up for that. Okay, looks like there might be two of you here now. Who is it? Anyway, welcome, whoever the second one is. You have been, if you've poked around to find this, you've been diligent. I'm not quite sure how I messed it up, but there's 3 or 4 of them up there now that I need to go through and delete all the messed up ones. So I hope you're enjoying the Exodus series. Um, we are going to go further and further. So a lot of this first stuff is in narrative format. That's what where the person is telling the story. Here's a third one, so people are finding it. That's good. So I said I think in the first video in the Exodus series, I talked about that there's different genres, there's different kinds of inspired writing, and I thought I would just talk for a few minutes here today about narrative, and then answer any of your texts that you type in there for me. I'll be glad to look at those. But I've got a book here which is really good. I've actually been thinking I should do a book review one of these days on this book, How to Read the Bible. Boy, that looks backwards to me. I guess it looks forwards to you. How to Read the Bible for All It's Worth by Gordon Fee and Douglas Stewart. And there's several chapters in here. There's a chapter on the Old Testament narratives, their proper use. And this is really, this is one of the best books, I've got on my shelf to help you understand the Bible. It's got a lot of good chapters here about how to interpret the different kinds of biblical narrative. It talks about how to interpret the epistles, the Old Testament narratives, how to interpret history like the book of Acts, the parables, the Gospels, law, prophets, Psalms, and so on. Revelation, they needed some help in the Revelation one. But anyway, on narratives, let me just read a line or two from this. It might be useful to you. What are narratives? Narratives are stories, purposeful stories retelling the historical events of the past that are intended to give meaning and direction for a given people in the present. So that's a pretty interesting, succinct definition of narratives. These are historically accurate, true facts that happen historically. The inspired Bible writer puts it into a story, writes it out, it becomes part of our Bible, And again, the way they put it here, it's a purposeful story retelling the historical events of the past, intended to give meaning and direction for a given people in the present. That's you and us today. So, how we're doing it in the present, that's the thing that narratives tried to get to. Um, yeah, I'd like to see all of you say hi to your mom there. Um, At the basic level, biblical narratives tell us about things that happened in the past. All narratives have three basic parts: characters, plot, and plot resolution. So, narrative is like when you read in the last chapters, the last dozen or so chapters of Genesis, you get Joseph and his brothers and all the things that happen there, and there's quite a story, there's quite a plot there. Narrative gives you, and at different times you'll be reading, and there will be kind of an insight. It'll say, well, God thinks this. There'll be kind of a divine morality statement. It means this, or this was a bad thing the king did, this was a good thing. And so, anyway, these texts that we're doing right now in Exodus, we're going to come to a lot of law, but the main narrative in these first sections is narrative. And so we're hearing about what happened to the Hebrew people, and then we're going to get Moses, and on and so on. So anyway, I hope you're enjoying it. I know we're only 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 days into this, but there's going to be 40 chapters worth. There's probably going to be 300 or 400 of these before we're done, and hopefully they'll be useful. So yeah, this little channel is still extremely tiny, and it's slowly growing. There's a few people that are interested, and so I'm hoping to continue, to have a little outpost, a little island out of all the things on YouTube. Maybe a lot of it not so morally useful, but hopefully on this channel, some bits that are somewhat useful. So anyway, I'm glad you've been tuning in. There's a few of you there. And let's see if there's any comments, anything you want to add. Have the first devotionals in Exodus been useful to you? Have you picked up anything that's useful? These are kind of like study devotionals. I haven't sorted out, I haven't gone into each one and do everything like I've done in each one. Okay, Ella Bell, welcome. That's good to see you made it. You found it through all the 4 or 5 of these I've got hanging up there that are mindless, that didn't do anything. You found the one here where I'm seated right now. So yeah, we figured it out, and next Monday at 11, we'll plan to start off and nail it down. So yeah, I wish I wish I'd got it right the first time, but we're learning. We're learning. That's kind of the key piece. Next time you see a weird symbol, you guys at YouTube, you got that little sideways box. A little tag in English or something could be useful, or even Spanish. I mean, like get it like straighten up your device. Does it mean turn your device this way, or does it mean what does it mean? So let's see. Any other comments here? Yeah, now we're here. Now we're here. Okay, well, we'll carry on, and we'll probably plan for some more of this next week. I think I've spent all the time I can spend on it today, but we finally turned the crank and got it to go. So yeah, there we go. All right, next week we'll see if I can almost get it right from the get-go. I'll try to start a couple minutes before 11, and unless I forget how I did all this, hopefully we'll be good to go. Yeah, we all get to learn. Some of us learn faster, some of us learn slower. I'm not sure I'm in the faster group, but I'm slowly learning here. So I hope you enjoy the devotionals, and I'm going to try somehow in the midst of all these evangelistic meetings. I'm also going to try to finally do my book review of that crazy book. That crazy book. Where is it? This one. I've got the script written for this, or at least almost all of it, and I was going to do something kind of deluxe. Try to do something deluxe outside with the camera and a little more but I won't have time to do that. So I'm gonna just film it like I've been doing these devotionals on a green screen, and we'll give you the commentary on this guy. This guy, Yuval Harari. He's wow. He's not on the same page as we are, but he's sure getting a lot of airplay out there. So he kind of believes crazy stuff. So we're gonna look at what he says, and I'm sure comment on it. So all right, I'm gonna leave it there, and we will try again next Monday, and we'll be getting it right. Yeah, I got this far. So so yeah, that's something. That's something. Yeah, the screen was when it was sideways. I would go live, click it, and then it would all go dark and have this little crooked thing. So anyway, the Lord bless you all, and we will. I don't know. We'll cut through this and see if there's anything that we want to actually hang there, and we'll look forward to getting it right next week. This was the first one, and we'll just keep on learning. Where can I get a copy of the book? This book. You don't want a copy of this book, I'm pretty sure. At least wait till after I review it. But you might want a copy of this book. How to Read the Bible for All It's Worth, Gordon Fee, Douglas Stewart. I got mine off of Amazon years ago, if I recall correctly. But I actually should do a video about this book, or maybe a series. I don't know if you can see that or not. The chapters, very helpful for interpreting the Bible in a correct way. It doesn't have everything. I don't agree with everything here. When are you going to find a book that you agree with everything in, except the Bible? But this is really really good. Actually, at the end of the chapter here, on the Old Testament narrative, it's got a checklist. It's got a list of 8 or 9 things. Yeah, here, principles for interpreting narratives. Just 9 or 10 of those, and it's all pretty good stuff, right? An Old Testament narrative usually does not directly teach a doctrine, but a lot of times people will try to use the Bible. They'll take a story and then they'll draw a doctrine out of it, and that's kind of edgy stuff. I mean, again, it's one thing to have the story and you draw lessons from it and you kind of say, I'm going to try to apply this. This happened, 2,000, 3,000 years ago. I'm going to apply it to my life. I think this is a way I can apply it. But to have it directly teach a doctrine, that would be perhaps mostly a problematical operation here. An Old Testament, number 2, an Old Testament narrative usually illustrates a doctrine or doctrines taught propositionally elsewhere. So like if you want to learn about the Sabbath, what do? You go through the whole Bible and look at everything about the Sabbath. If you want to learn about the second coming of Jesus, you just go through the whole Bible and look up all the main texts on that, and you'll find a lot of long stretches in the New Testament that will tell you a lot more about the second coming of Jesus. So we look for those propositional statements, those definitive statements. We look for those. We look for those especially to help us with solid doctrine. But these Old Testament stories are remarkably useful in kind of setting the pace. So anyway, there's more here. Maybe next week we'll talk. Next week I'll bring up this book again, and we'll add a couple more of these that might be useful, and we can talk about them. So yeah, all right, well, thank you for thanking me, and we'll keep on working on it. So we have devotionals. I think I've got the next 8 of them already filmed, edited, and they're marked in there, so for the next 8 days at least it won't run out. And I'm hoping on Wednesday I can film some more. Wednesday's my one day off. I'm preaching Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, these evangelistic meetings. So I will be working probably today and tomorrow on scripts, and then on Wednesday I will try to film the next series of carry on the series. So by the time you get there, it won't run out. So anyway, things are happening in spite of my slow mind and not understanding YouTube Live. Glad you all came, and next week we'll carry on some more. Write down your questions during the week and get ready to type them in, and we'll look forward to hearing your questions or anything things you've learned. Anyway, by next week we'll have a whole week and a half worth of devotionals in there, so we'll try to talk mostly about those. All right, I think we'll leave it there, and I'm glad those have been helpful. We'll keep on plugging away. Okay, so the Lord bless you, and thank you for being patient with myself. A little bit slow to get the YouTube Live figured out, but I think it's working. So see ya. Now I'm gonna have to figure out how to turn it off.